Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. I'm here at one of my special filming spot locations because guess what? We have something that's been redesigned for the new model year. What am I talking about? This vehicle right here. This is a 2026 Subaru Forester, but as you can see, this is the Forester Wilderness Edition. But before we get into this compact crossover SUV that is meant for the off-roading, let's talk about what's going on here. So it goes without saying, Subaru and all-wheel drive go together like peanut butter and jelly, like a pepperoni on a pizza and syrup on a pancake. That being said, in this compact segment, there's a lot of different brands that are now throwing their hat into this off-road-esque SUV ring to do their battle. Subaru has decided to stick to their guns and always have that all-wheel drive, that symmetrical all-wheel drive, but they, a few years ago, came out with the Wilderness Edition to really up the ante. Now, there's a lot of newcomers. Like I said, CR-V Trailsport is one of the newest. My question is, should you go with this updated, refreshed, redesigned Forester Wilderness, or should you go with that new Trailsport from Honda and the CR-V? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this one and see if we can find out. Right off the bat, it is a classic Subaru color, CWP, crystal white pearl. Nice metallic pop, like a diamond in the sun. Up front, you'll see the new face. So you have that redesigned headlight, LED daytime running lamps, LED headlights, and they are adaptive headlights, so they move with the steering wheel. Working our way down, you have the Gatling gun LED fog lamps. I like the way they're housed in the front fascia. The one zonk I have is you have the old-fashioned light bulb for the turn signal. So you have LED daytime running lamps, just not turn signals. And then I like the way the white of the body goes into the headlight housing. Really gives it a unique look. Now, working our way down the corner, obviously they sculpted the whole front end to give you a better approach angle than the previous generation of the Forester Wilderness, and there's more ground clearance. Now, as we come across that iconic Japanese brand badge, the constellation of Subaru, you do have all flat black. You do get a forward-facing camera. I'm gonna zonk it because it should have a washer up front to wash it clean if you're gonna go off-roading. Functional in the upper grille, you have some crystal white pearl, some flat black, and then you have functionality on the lower grille area. I like the way they painted from passenger side to driver's side, the metallic silver, and then they, like I said, resculpted the front fascia, more room for approach angle. And then if you're wondering, well, how much ground clearance there is, there's actually more than last model year. 9.6 inches of ground clearance. You're still gonna get the front aluminum. It's not steel or stamped steel. Aluminum skid plate up front. And then of course you could go into the Subaru accessory catalog to get the other skid plates. But let me know what you think about the face of this redesigned Forester Wilderness. Like I said, it's going up against that CR-V Trailsport and many others on top of that. Now, you'll notice on the Wilderness, you will get on that trim some little gold accents. You pop this off and you actually have a recovery tow hook underneath. And then as we rise up, I do like the way they brought the hood line higher. I feel like it gives it a little bit bolder design, not so rounded. You have an anti-glare strip on the hood. Would have been nice if they would have had like Subaru or Wilderness or something here, but still gonna be a functional thing because it's gonna cut down the glare that hits you in your face when you're behind the wheel. Now, when we come around the bend, what do we got going on? Speaking of wheels, you have this new redesigned wheel unique to the Wilderness. So flat black, that V-spoke design. This is a 17-inch wheel, and we have those Yokohama Geolander all-terrain tires. It's got a little bit of shielding, and a little bit more aggressive tread, but it's a compromise, right? This is not a rock crawler. You're not taking this to Moab to drive over the arches and stuff. What you're doing with this is you're going down that off-road path to put the kayaks in the water where normally you would be stuck in lesser SUVs. I do like the way they have the raised white letters. It just has a really cool look to it. 235 on the width, so we actually have wider tires than previous model year. 60 series sidewall, and then of course we have the cladding, right? BMW, Subaru and cladding kind of go together. At least that's what it seems like. Lots of cladding. This is gonna take a better beating though, so I get the idea behind the cladding. It's not gonna get as scratched up. And then as we kind of swing around, Lori's gonna show off the functionality of that fender vent. Of course, they reworked the suspension for 2026 and made the chassis more rigid. And of course, you have that all-wheel drive, symmetrical, full-time all-wheel drive. It's not like the Rogue, it's not like the CR-V, it's not like the RAV4, where it's front-wheel drive and then it'll send power to the rear when it detects slippage. This is full-time symmetrical all-wheel drive. Of course, you gotta have the badge, the Subaru Wilderness badge with the Rocky Mountains there. I like the flat black on the mirror caps, LED turn signals. Up top, you are gonna get those raised roof rails with the gold accents. Now, for 2026, you could put up to 800 pounds on those roof rails. That's static. So let's say you're gonna go overlanding, you got yourself a roof tent, you could sleep with somebody on top of this Forester if you wanted to. If you're driving down the road, which means dynamic, you have up to 200 pounds. So don't leave your friend or a couple of your friends up on the roof while you're driving, because that's only static when you're not moving. But you have more weight capability. Like the gold accents, I think it was smart to go with color match door handles. And then of course you have that extended, when I say extended, we're talking about from the bottom up, cladding with the Forester name. Nice gold, kind of pops, really clean. Working our way towards the rear. On all of the Foresters, I think this is a cool way to put the badging instead of putting it on the back. Symmetrical all-wheel drive within that rear pillar. Spinning around back. Believe it or not, I'm not gonna zonk it because of the rear wiper. I feel like Subarus are just kind of always have that weird idea and design behind it, so I'll let it be. Leave the rear wiper alone. You do have a nice roof spoiler there. Look at the metallic black along the midsection. And then of course we have new lighting that they did. The only thing is, why do we have old-fashioned turn signals? Those old light bulbs. Thomas Edison had that long time ago. Why do we have it on a 2026 model year vehicle? Forester name stamped in, clean. And then the only badge you have is Subaru Wilderness, which I like. I like that idea. Now, coming all the way down to ground level, they emboss the Subaru name in the lower bumper, just like they embossed the Forester name in the hatch. You do have an exhaust outlet on the passenger side. Nice stainless steel tip, tucked high to give you a good departure angle. And I like the way, I think it was smart to do the painted silver like they did up front. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see if they did anything about horsepower in this Wilderness. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. All the competitors have a prop rod, so I'm not even gonna take another look at it. What I do like is it has a unique engine, unlike all the competition. That is that flat four, that boxer engine, and you can see everything. That's an alternator. This is your intake plenum. That's your throttle body. I love the fact your AC compressor, your top-mounted oil filter. You could see everything. And what's great is because this is a flat four, it sits lower in the engine cradle. So what that means is you're gonna have a lower center of gravity. But what do we have? Do we have more horsepower? No, we don't have more horsepower, unfortunately, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You tell me in the comment section. We still got that 2.5 liter naturally aspirated flat four. It puts out 180 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque. It does have a CVT. That's one of the things that Subaru, They're not getting rid of their CVT anytime soon. What's interesting is that for 2026, they did change the final gear ratio to 411 gears. That's actually going to help increase towing from 3,000 pounds. Now you could tow up to 3,500 pounds, and there is an upgraded transmission cooler for that CVT. 0 to 60, still a sluggish 8.4 seconds. Top speed 120 miles an hour. It is governed to 120 miles an hour. MPGs 24 in the city, 28 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs 3,750 pounds. Another thing that the 411 gear ratio is going to help with is when you're doing that slow moving crawl action, when you're in your X mode, that's going to allow you to have better throttle control when you're going over rocks and hills and all that good stuff. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this flat 4 and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this all-new 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I have my 10 Chihuahuas and I have my Great Dane, and I want to go on an adventure. I want to take them out into the nature, into the wild, and just make memories with them. And I'm really thinking that this Forester Wilderness might be the one, but how much is it? Very good question. Starting price is $39,000. The way you see this one, it's at $42,000. So for the money, especially compared to the competition, you're getting quite a bit of SUV. But let's see what else they have in store for you on the interior. To the door panels. I love when you go wilderness, you get the two-tone. The dark soft touch, that gold stitching with the little Subaru Wilderness tag there. And then you have that easy clean surface material, no gloss black. Door pocket is a little tight, so maybe just 2 hot pockets and a large surge to wash it down. You got the Harman Kardon sound system and a little bit of textured Easter egg design. You see the little boots? There's like these little footprints there on the corner. That's one of the Easter eggs. But going from the door panel to the dash, I do like this material, the way they did this. This looks nice, nice textured ripple effect. The stitching, this, it reminds me of a Mercedes-Benz logo without the circle around it. But it is gold, just like the stitching, because it says the Wilderness. I would have been fine with just Subaru Wilderness. Like, just have that here. Come on in, what do you got? That 11.6-inch infotainment system. And I really believe that this is the Achilles heel of the Subaru Forester Wilderness. It's not the greatest system. It's a little laggy, and I'm not a fan on how they have a mixture of the buttons and the touchscreen. So you do have your navigation. I could hit home, all those different icons you could check into. You do also have your screen up top as well. Temperatures, different information, the weather, very important if you're going to go on that journey with your furry friends. The thing that hurts are the AC controls. I wish that it wasn't just touchscreen. I wish there were physical buttons, but you do have dual climate. That's physical button, which is nice. You do have heated seats, 3 stages, and you could do things like shut off that pesky auto start stop feature. I could hit the little car icon, adjust my X mode, all that kind of information really easily accessible. So that's nice to have all that. Throw it in reverse. It's not the greatest camera technology, but it's also not the worst. So you be the judge. I do like the trajectory. And then when I hit the button all the way down here on the center console, I'm able to do the forward-facing camera. So same thing, a little grainy, not very large, but at least it's there. Very important if you're going to go off-road to have a forward-facing camera. Your start-stop button, easy to get to. I do like the way the infotainment system is integrated into the dash rather than just stuck on like a billboard. Down below, they got you covered. Aux jack, get your iPod Nano out, USB-C, USB-A, wireless charging, more gold stitching. This is going to control your CVT. Yes, I know you're upset it has a CVT, but it does have simulated shifting, which is programmed really well. The gold accent, just a little bit of gloss black here. Everything else is flat black. 2 cup holders. You got a place where you can put your compass, your actual physical compass. Soft touch on the armrest with the stitching. Open it up. You have enough room in there. You could easily put, I would say, 42 milk bones. Those small little milk bones, you're going to need them. I mean, 10 Chihuahuas and a Great Dane. You're going to need as many milk bones as you give the Chihuahuas, you're probably going to need to give the Great Dane as well. So thankfully you got the room. And then the seats. I do like the soft touch. Subaru Wilderness embossed. These are water resistant, so you could easily clean them if they get wet. The stitching, manual adjustment for the passenger, manual adjustment for the driver. Speaking of getting wet, what's nice about these seats is like if you go to, I don't know, Busch Gardens maybe, and you go ride the rapids in one of the rapid rides, you're gonna get pretty wet. One of the things I hated as a kid was if you went to go ride a roller coaster and the person that gets off in front of you out of the seat that you get into is all soaking wet, you're gonna be wet. What I like about this is that if the seat's wet, you could easily dry it really quick. And I like the way it's two-tone, the gray with the black. And then up top, you got an oversized sunroof, not a panoramic and not a regular sunroof. So it's kind of like right in the middle. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel in this special Subaru. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Now, the good news is, since I'm the captain of this ship, I do get my own power seat controls here, especially the lower lumbar. Subaru makes a very comfortable seat. They definitely do that very well. And remember, for 2026, the seats are bolted right to the floor, not a rail system. So it makes it a better riding Subaru when you're sitting in the seat. Lots of headroom, steering wheel, the leather, the gold stitching, a little bit of gold accent, flat black on the switchgear. You do have paddles to go through simulated gears, and it is a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And then, of course, you do have that all-new 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. You could go into different modes, intelligent or sport sharp. And then there's different information you could have displayed as well. But I love the new gauges. That has a nice analog feel, even though it's full digital. So good job with that. And then it is a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat and see how much room there is in this Forester. All right, guys, back seat time. And even though this is a compact crossover SUV, you're getting a generous amount of room back here. They really organize it very well. Lots of headroom. Remember, I'm 6 feet tall. You do have large pockets, and this is perfect because you could put your poop bags for your Chihuahuas here, the larger poop bags for your Great Dane, and then you could put all sorts of leashes and collars. And that's the thing is that, like I said, if you are a pet owner, especially a dog owner, Subaru has so many fun things that you can get through their accessories catalog. Command center, you do have AC vents. They do give you a USB-C, a USB-A. Would have been nice to have the heated seats in the back as well, just like up front. But the seats are superb. Good, comfortable material. And then, of course, you got to have a nice soft armrest so you can put your 2 Mocha Lattis there. Little frappa crappa. But why don't we go ahead, plenty of room in here, why don't we go ahead and get in the cargo area and see just how many dogs we could rescue and stuff back there. All right, guys, cargo area time, real simple. Hit the button, nice electric assist. What I love is how low the rear bumper is, even though this is an off-road spec SUV. What that is going to allow you is to have your dogs jump, or cats, jump right from ground level into the back cargo area. Really cute, all the touches they do with the Forester name, the rocks, the rivers, all the Easter eggs. You can spend a whole month going around your Forester looking at the Easter eggs. But basically you're looking at 27 cubic, actually 27 and a half. I didn't want to leave that half out. 27 and a half cubic feet of space with the rear seats up, 69.1 cubic feet of space with the rear seat down. You do have your subwoofer from that Harman Kardon sound system. I like the way they have the easy access switchgear to fold down the seats. And then of course, on the driver's side, same thing, your switch, you hit that. And then you do have a 12 volt, which is great. And I like the way they put this nook here so you can put a small bowl of water for your furry friend that might be riding in the back. But you know what? Today it's not about the furry friends. It's about you and it's about me and this Forester. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go see how this Forester Wilderness drives. All right, guys, we're inside this redesigned 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness Edition. Pulling out onto the asphalt jungle, and right away, you're gonna love these seats. These seats are superb up front for the driver and passenger. Even though the passenger one is manual, the driver's seat being full electric feels fantastic. One thing to point out and to remember is you're gonna get one of the best safety devices in the whole auto industry when you go with this Forester. Actually, when you go with any of the Subarus, that's that eyesight technology. It really allows you to feel at ease when you're driving on the road because it does its job so well with your lane keep assist, automatic brake assist, blind spot monitoring, the whole shabam. And because it's inside the vehicle and mounted up high, it doesn't get covered with bugs and goo and mud and everything else. So definitely one of those things that when it comes to safety, Subaru has it down pat. That new 12.3-inch infotainment system, well, digital gauge cluster. We got the 11.6-inch infotainment system, but the new gauge cluster looks fantastic. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of these types of things, but because the gauges are done so well, it has still that analog feel to it, even though it's a nice, clean digital display. Getting to the 11.6-inch infotainment system is well within reach, but like I said, it's just not as fast as some of the competition. And remember, you do have X mode. Now, to go into X mode, you need to be at a complete stop. So it's one of those things that you don't just activate it whenever. You need to come to a stop, and then the icons here will illuminate whether you want snow, dirt, normal, or deep mud and sand. But the good news is we are on the asphalt jungle, so we don't have to worry about really going off-roading today. And that's the great thing about this vehicle, is that it's perfect as a daily driver. Lots of usable space, obviously, lots of safety, but it's also comfortable to drive to your off-road destination. It's another thing to remember. But let's see how it handles, especially for being a off-road spec Forester. I think what you're gonna find is it's very, very balanced. You have, of course, that symmetrical all-wheel drive that's gonna keep you planted. It's just not very fast. And if you're okay with that, then you don't have to worry about it. I prefer the Outback Wilderness because it does come with that turbocharged flat 4. I do have it in Sport Sharp mode. So you have Sport Sharp or you have Intelligent mode, which is gonna give you a little bit better fuel economy. But let's go on throttle. On throttle, here we go. So simulated shifts are good. Not a lot of body roll, which is nice. It's just not very fast. I mean, it's naturally aspirated 180 horsepower. Would have been nice to bring that number up to 200 at least for a naturally aspirated engine. But I don't run Subaru, so this is what we have for the 2026 Forester, especially the Wilderness trim. I kind of miss the Forester XT. That was a really fun SUV with that turbocharged flat 4. But everything is well laid out in here. Can't argue with that. good reliability, and one of the best all-wheel drive systems in the industry. But I hope that this has been a good overall review of this Subaru Forester Wilderness. We're gonna get back to where it all began and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys. Wonderful day in so many ways with this 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness. Definitely got to thank the whole Subaru USA team for allowing us to have access to this press fleet vehicle. Let me know what you think. Did Subaru make the right choices to make this that compact standout amongst all the competitors? Or are they missing a little bit more? Should there be a few more things that they're working on? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rice family. Gotta give it up to Latte Lori. Even when she has very little sleep, she's still able to make the movie magic happen. So thank you, Lori, for all that you do and your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.